Hey everybody, what's up? We are back for the first time in a few days with the holidays and everything. I was pretty busy with my family and all that. But today we are going into another stock review. It is Recursion Pharmaceuticals. So they are a clinical stage pharmaceutical company developing drugs, healthcare products, whatever. We're going to look into their financials, go over some recent earnings reports, check out their chart, and basically just go over everything that we can with this company. So if you're interested, make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Also, comment any companies that you would like me to look into. I do this most days of the week, other than last week, and I try to get to as many companies as I possibly can. So make sure to comment any ones that you're interested in. Other than that, let's get into Recursion Pharmaceuticals. So, starting off here, we can see clinical stage biotechnology company that does a lot of different things in the field: AI, machine learning, novel medicines. Basically, it looks like they're using technology in order to find medicines and advance new therapeutics that improve people's lives. So definitely an interesting concept for a company. Some key points here: market cap is just under 3 billion, no dividend. They IPO'd about 3 years ago. Other than that, cost of capital is a little higher than average. Usually it's around 10 to 11. We're at almost 13. No big deal there. Long-term growth rate is at 2.8%, which could be a little on the lower side, but again, usually this isn't the most accurate metric. And then their target price at 983 is fairly higher than the 677 we're seeing right now. Going into some of their growth estimates, we could see looking like some estimated pain over the next year or so. I'm assuming as they're in a development phase of their company, but the 3 year projections look very, very positive. So that is definitely a solid sign for the future of the company. If you look up here at their recent stock movement, you could see they have heavily underperformed the S&P 500. A few years ago, they IPO'd right around, it looks like $30 a share, and they are currently sitting at 677. That is not their all-time low, though. It looks like they were right around $4.77 at one point, um, which isn't great, but seeing as they've come up since then, that is good. It does look like there is a support area gathering here right around that $4 to $5 range. So at the very least, you could expect that as a relative bottom for the company. But anyway, let's get into their financials. So starting off with this, I'm in the last couple quarters, and you could see, seeing as they IPO'd in 2021, I'm really not going to go farther out than the quarters as there's not much more to see. But first of all, their sales have been steadily increasing. We've actually seen their sales double nearly in the past quarter, which is definitely something to be positive about. EBIT looks like it came down slightly, although honestly not close to being where we want it to be, which is profitability. Now, obviously, they are in development. They are growing their sales very rapidly, as we saw in the past quarter. So, could be a good thing. Hopefully, it will be. Other than that, we could see net income is kind of in the same story there, where they are growing their sales, but also losing a lot of money. Now, are they bankrolling themselves by selling shares? Yes, they are. Their shares have increased every single quarter that is available here: 172 in 2022 to 282 million shares now. Um, Not great. Hopefully, it pays off in the future, but this is probably one of the reasons their stock price is so low as it is, because they have massively diluted, and that is not fantastic, but hopefully they can stop doing that in the near future as they come around to a little bit more profitability, hopefully in the next couple years. But again, they are mainly a development based company at the moment, so they're really just looking to make some technology. um, for their balance sheet, we're looking at long term assets. Now, with smaller companies like these, it could look like their assets are decreasing, such as over the past quarter. But you can see here their cash is what actually decreased. Their property, plant, and equipment increased. Other current assets fell slightly. Other than that, that's about it. But you can see property, plant, and equipment, which is their long term assets, has been steadily increasing, at least from what I could tell. And yes, it has been. Other than that, long-term investments is fairly consistent. Intangibles is the same, actually coming down from a high of 100 to 86 million now. And total assets has been increasing year over year. Just seeing as the average now is over 700 million compared to last year where it was 600. We did see 700 million in assets one time before, but it was 2 years ago. Other than that, their debt situation looks really good. You can see they have 400 million in cash and only about 80 to 90 million total in debt. So perfectly fine there. Um, Most of it comes from looks like payroll and miscellaneous liabilities, which isn't anything major. What we're really looking for here is the short term and long term, which is very, very manageable given their current amount of cash. Their long term debt has been increasing, but again, compared to how much cash they have, it's no big deal. Other than that, everything else looks pretty okay. It looks like they do have more than enough cash to sustain themselves for a fair bit of time in order to hopefully continue that development as we've been talking about. Looking into their cash flows, hopefully we can see some positives, and wow, that is a lot of negatives. Wow. So overall, funds from operations are massively negative. CapEx is looking again very negative, which this is normal for investing activities. And then obviously their change in capital stock has been enormously positive. That is basically how they've been cash flowing themselves. But even with that, you can see their free cash flow has been negative every single quarter since this company has been in operation. So definitely something that will have to get turned around at some point. They cannot sustain this forever, but hopefully we will start to see some solid growth in the next few years. Heading into their segment history, we can kind of see how their sales growth has been. And obviously, massive sales growth. This is not including 2024 either, where we saw their sales double quarter over quarter. So that is definitely something to look forward to as 2024 comes to an end. We will definitely be seeing this take off even farther than it has been. And getting into some ratios, I'm really not expecting too much in terms of impressive results here, but maybe there is a little bit. So SGA to sales has come down from its massive highs in 2020, 2021. Overall, there's really not too much information to get here, though, because with the company in the state that it is, ratios don't mean too much. However, one thing I will say is that as we can see, the gross margin is steadily closing in on positivity over the past 4 quarters or so. So that's definitely something to look forward to. SGA to sales also, again, has been continuing to come down over the past year. Operating margins, same thing. All of their margins are improving. However, all of them are very, very far from being where a normal, healthy company is. And another thing, just to put a positive spin on the ratios, their long term debt to equity is very, very low. Usually, most larger, mature companies want to shoot for under 80%, and they are at 14%, which is fantastic. So, definitely a positive on their ratios. Let's see if we can find a recent earnings statement to kind of dive into how the company has been doing more recently. And it is looking like we will be able to. So, business updates and reports, third quarter results for 2024. Hopefully, there's some good information here. And it looks like they reported just about a month ago. So, not too long. Multiple clinical trial milestones were achieved with these kind of pharmaceutical biotech companies. Clinical trials are massive. This is exactly what you want to see. So, multiple milestones achieved, uh, encouraging data for one of their trials, first patient dosed with whatever, and it basically just looks like they had overall good news. Um, to, 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 to. $500 million fee structure. Royalties looks like they are increasing their revenue possibly in the near future. Collaboration with Google Cloud, that could be very positive. highlights close partnership with technology companies like Google, Nvidia, Tempest, and others. Partnerships like these will hopefully drive the company towards being much larger in the future. That is the ideal goal here. And it looks like, other than that, advance towards a shareholder meeting on November 12th, which hopefully we will see also in the news there. And other than that, there are some other things, business highlights. If you want to read through this is basically just more in depth of everything else I was talking about with their partnerships and their Google Cloud platform. Pause here if you do want to read through any of this for the company. And other than that, there's just some financial stuff, which we already went over. Let's see if we could see something else here for the pharmaceutical side. First off, the earnings report. And it looks like, so we do see the revenue, that large revenue increase in the past quarter. The estimate for that was 12 million and they received 26 million. That is massive. Year over year increase was due to revenue from a partnership and the 30 million fee from completion of their neuroscience whatever technology. R&D expense was a little bit higher. Cash was a little bit lower than the past quarter, and potential business combination continues to advance. And that is about it. We can also see some other news here, which we can hopefully get some more positive news on. So looks like mostly just across the board positive things for the company. If you'd like to read through this, you can. I'm not going to go through everything just for the sake of time for the video, but overall, it seems like the company is moving solidly towards some products that will definitely boost growth in the future. So, other than that, let's head into the chart now. Looking at the chart here, you can see this stock is basically begging for a big move. So, it has been essentially flat since June or July. Obviously, there has been a decent amount of zigzag movement. We actually saw a boom from $5.50 to over $9 within just a few weeks, which is definitely something positive. But overall, no solid movement in any direction. Obviously, that is massive. That's almost doubling in just a few days. But overall, what we're looking for is picking a direction and heading in that direction. That's what we want to see. So there has been a fairly significant downtrend that already is broken through here. And now we're looking to hopefully continue upwards. Now, one thing I will say is that the stock does look like it is making higher highs, at least recently. However, just based on the dangling participle that's right here from the last week or so, there could be some negative outlook there depending on what the market wants for this stock. But overall, it's kind of an open bag where I feel like it could head either continue flat. Obviously, most things depend on the earnings for the next quarter, but overall, I think we could either see it continuing flat until that earnings report or possibly heading higher just based on how the recent movement has been. But overall, definitely something to pay attention to. I think it could be a huge play just based on how volatile this is. You could see it is basically moving by massive percentages every single day. Just in the past few weeks, saw multiple double digit up and down days. So definitely something to pay attention to. Obviously, that day where it went up above $9.50, actually, um, definitely a solid time to get into it now with all the volatility if you're looking for a quick trade. But overall, I would say if you are thinking about trading this, wait until the $6 range where it hits this support line again, and then it could possibly head back upwards. I don't know about higher than $9. I really don't think the value is there at the moment, even with that last earnings report that was fairly well with revenue. Um, Even with that, I still don't think the value in the company is there. But I do believe that for short term trades, it is definitely a solid bet to look into. But other than that, that is all I have for Recursion Pharmaceuticals. Definitely check it out if you're interested. And I will see everybody in the next video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. See you next time.